So we have the media posting the same article in response to Trump's executive order. And then we have the VA's implementation of Trump's executive order. And here on the VA Secretary X account, which I'll bring up right now, we see him. Let me zoom in. Bop, bop, bop. You can see him pretty firmly calling out fake news, can't be trusted. This story is not only false, it's ridiculous. All eligible veterans will be welcome at the VA and will always receive the benefits and services they've earned under the law. Okay. And then here is the quote unquote fake news. And instead of taking the media's word for it, and instead of taking the VA secretary's word for it, we're gonna dive deep, a little bit deeper into this. All right. I have not read these yet. I just have them up and ready to read them with you for the first time. So we're going to dive a little deeper into this and see what's going on here. So you are getting a true, genuine, real, live reaction. Let's see where this thing goes. So first, the very first thing I did was I just Googled the title. Okay. When I did that, nope, that's the actual article. When I did that, you can see the Economic Times on MSN, the LGBTQ plus Nation on MSN, the Daily Beasts, and then all these other articles. Okay. Now there's Newsmax there. Okay. What we're going to do is look at the article that the VA secretary specifically called out, which is this one from The Guardian. And that's what we have pulled up here. I'm going to read that. And then the executive order they're referencing is right here from January 20th. All right. So let's read the article. I'll zoom in and let's see where this takes us. So extremely disturbing and unethical. New rules allow VA doctors to refuse to treat Democrats, unmarried veterans, which that does sound ridiculous. I got to give it to the VA secretary up front. That sounds idiotic. Okay. Department of VA says the changes come in response to a Trump executive order defending women. Doctors at VA hospitals nationwide could refuse to treat unmarried veterans and Democrats under new hospital guidelines imposed following an executive order by Donald Trump. Now, anytime there's a hyperlink, I like to just click it and see what's going on. When I did that, it's just a hyperlink to many other articles that really don't have anything to do with what we're talking about. It's just a hyperlink. Okay, so I think that's weird. It's the same thing for the Donald Trump hyperlink too. I'll show you this very, very quickly. It's like, okay, thank you for adding this information. I can't use that, but appreciate it. Anyways, the new rules obtained by The Guardian also apply to psychologists, dentists, and a host of other occupations that have already gone into effect in at least some VA medical centers. Which ones? That's my very first question. Like if I'm going to read an article from the lens of, hey, is this true? These are just like basic questions I have. Which ones? You just say some. I want to know which ones. Medical staff are still required to treat veterans regardless of race, color, religion. Let's just take a peek at. I'm sure this is great. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? The hyperlinks just have nothing. This is nothing. Ball of nothing. Okay. Race, color, religion, and sex, and all veterans remain entitled to treatment. But individual workers are now free to decline to care for patients based on personal characteristics, not explicitly prohibited by federal law. Language requiring healthcare professionals to care for veterans, regardless of their politics and marital status, has been explicitly eliminated. So I guess that's the implementation there. Doctors and other medical staff can also be barred from working at VA hospitals based on their marital status, political party affiliation, or union activity. Documents reviewed by The Guardian show. Where are they at? If we're gonna, I'm fine with saying it, okay. And if we show it, I will hop on that bandwagon so quick. But where are they at? The changes also affect chiropractors, certified NPs, optometrists, podiatrists, licensed clinical social workers, and speech therapists. In making the changes, VA officials cite the president's 30 executive order titled there. That is what this is right here. Bam. Defending women from gender ideology extremism and restoring biological truth to the federal government. The primary purpose of the executive order was to strip most government protections from trans people. That's nice. The VA has since ceased providing most gender-affirming care and forbidden a long list of words, including gender-affirming and transgender, from clinical settings. We know that's true because the VA secretary has kind of doubled down on that. Medical experts said the implications of rule changes uncovered by The Guardian could be far-reaching. I think this sentence right here, I think, kind of sums up where my mind's going. Is, in my opinion, The Guardian is really reaching and implying and framing it in a way to be as far-reaching as possible, right? Because it could be. They seem to open the door to discrimination on the basis of anything that is not legally protected. It's not that they are. It just this person says it seems like that. That's Dr. Kenneth Kyther, the VA's top healthcare official during the Clinton administration. He said the changes open up the possibility that doctors could refuse to treat veterans based on their reason for seeking care, including allegations of rape and sexual assault, current or past political party affiliation or political activity, and personal behavior such as alcohol or marijuana use. I will tell you this. If anyone can provide any proof, and I mean anything, that says, hey, you align with a Democrat or Republican or an independent or a libertarian or whatever else is out there, and therefore you can't receive VA care. If you see that, shoot it to me. I have seen nothing like that, and that would be absolutely insane and crazy. And I think the opposite is also true, that if this doesn't exist and then we're throwing out accusations, that's worse than bad, okay? So I haven't seen anything like that. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. I could be wrong. But that is it's wild to even say that out loud from someone who is smart. Anyways, the Department of VA is the nation's largest. Got it. In an emailed response to questions, VA Press Secretary Peter, I'll just say K here, did not dispute that the new rules allow doctors to refuse to treat veteran patients based on their beliefs, or that physicians could be dismissed based on their marital status or political affiliation, but said, so he didn't say this, that's how it's framed, I want to make that very clear. What he said, according to this article, is all eligible veterans will always be welcome at VA and will always receive the benefits and services they've earned under the law. And so I think if we, again, this is my live reaction here, if we take this, right, all eligible veterans, how are we defining eligible veterans within this context right here? And then we see under the law, how are we defining that as well? But I think this is the opposite version of this. Right, just how The Guardian is saying could be far-reaching. We see blanket statements like eligible veterans and under the law versus saying, hey, that's not true. He said the rule changes were nothing more than a formality, but confirmed that they were made to comply with Trump's executive order. Kay also said the revisions were necessary to ensure VA policy comports with federal law. That is the thing that I think a lot of people forget, is the VA just implements, like, they don't make choices. They do within the left and right lateral limits of the federal law. So people will say things like the VA should be giving PACT Act services to Panama and Bosnia veterans. I think that's a true statement. I support that, but the VA can't make that decision. Congress has to make that decision. It's the same thing here. So that's pretty much what the who's that? The representative, the speaker? No, the VA press secretary. Excuse me. is saying there. Until the recent changes, VA hospitals by law said that medical staff could not discriminate against patients on the basis of race, age, color, sex, religion, national origin, politics, marital status, or disability in any employment matter. Now, several of those items, including national origin, politics, and marital status, have been removed from that list. So I think that those are the hard changes that this article is reaching for, okay? Trying to draw a line that I personally don't think exists. Similarly, the bylaw on decisions regarding medical staff membership no longer forbids VA hospitals from discriminating against candidates for staff positions based on all those things, okay? Let's go here. It seems on its face an effort to exert political control over the VA medical staff, he said. This is Dr. Arthur Kaplan. What we typically tell people in healthcare is you keep your politics at home and take care of your patients. I think everyone would agree with that. Kaplan said the rules open the door to doctors questioning patients about whether they attended a Trump rally or declining to provide healthcare to a veteran because they wore a button critical of J.D. Vance or voice support for gay rights. Those views aren't relevant to caring for patients, so why would we put them at risk of losing care that way? 2024 presidential campaign, In Me Within, probably fall. I don't want this video to be super long, so I'm just going to skim here. I'll leave all these down below in the pinned comments. Okay, yeah, so there's the article, all right? What I would like to see personally, going back to here, this is fine, right? And the VA's X account also said the same thing. They used the word disinformation. I like the statement. What I would like to see is if the VA secretary is really going to put his foot forward on combating misinformation, which is fine. Again, I would like to see him pull out the article of, hey, here's exactly what we implemented from the executive order. Here's what could be far-reaching means. Here's the line they're trying to draw that doesn't exist. Just more explanation instead of just taking their word for it. I'm not going to take the Guardian's word for it, and I'm not going to take the VA Secretary's word for it. Now, to me, it does seem like all of these people here are drawing a line that doesn't exist, unless someone else shows me something different. Like especially the line of the political party, right? Which is absolutely insane. I'll leave this down below. I searched for veteran. That word's not in here. I searched for VA. That acronym's not in here. It's just like values, validity, things like that. Now, if you search up gender, that's all over this thing. And it's talking about women or woman and girls or girls shall mean adult and juvenile human females, respectively. Right? That's kind of what that is getting at. And I'm not even going to entertain that anymore. But there's nothing in here that really tells the VA what to do specifically. I don't know. In my opinion, after reading the article, skimming it, and skimming the executive order, there's really nothing. Like, if we're going to post things like this, which is fine, I would like to see it backed up by things like for instance, this hyperlink. I thought we hyperlink things that matter, not just more articles. Anyways, let me get your thoughts on this. I do think it's a hot button issue. I like to see the VA secretary taking a step forward if he did that, what I would really like to see, I'll tell you what I really like to see. I would really like to see, where's this guy at? Peter Kasperwitz, Peter K., the VA press secretary, just head on. Like if the VA is going to put out information like this that is directly combating misinformation or disinformation or propaganda or whatever word you want to use, do it to the full extent, not just by using blanket statements. That's what I would do personally. Anyways, that's my thoughts. This video is going to get way too long if I keep rambling. If you made it to the end, thank you very much. I want your thoughts down below. And I hope this video doesn't ruffle that many feathers on this topic. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Thank you very much.